slow parenting family from across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us on another interesting episode of the Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Media. My name is Richie Adewusi, your regular host. Today promises to be another interesting episode on this program. Today we are in the spirit for the outdoors. Spring is in the air. Okay, yeah, we're inching gradually into that period where everyone wants to be outdoors. Okay, warmer weather. But then, depending on what part of the world you are listening or watching from, um, there are portions of the world where it is fun to be outdoors around the year, especially for children. Well, I spent a lot of time on this program in previous episodes talking about the need to separate, or rather, get children to spend lesser time with devices. What better ways to do that but to put them in an environment where they won't even remember what devices are? Outdoors. To get us, really warmed up for that, I want to ask you a question because I have my own personal stories to tell about that. When was the first time you saw sand? Yeah, sand. Not at the beaches. Regular environment. When was the first time? Okay, you. Okay, can't remember. All right, fine. When was the first time your children had contact with sand? Not the dust in your living room. Okay, no. I mean real sand. If you do remember such occasions, what happened with the child or the children and the sand? What happened? Leave your leave your responses in the comment section. Okay. If it's you, what happened the first time you came in contact with sand? Well, if you were born with sand around you and all of that, you won't understand what we're talking about, the rest of us, okay? But then if it was not you with your kids, and the first time they had the opportunity to be on sand, with sand, natural sand in natural environment, leave your comments in the chat section. Okay, leave your comment. What was it like? How did the children behave? How did you respond or behave yourself? Okay. Now, if you have gone ahead, or you're laughing, okay, what's he talking about? What's the big deal about that? Well, to you or with you, if you grew up in an environment where, well, when you wake up, as you step out the door, you say, son, with a bunch of kids out there, then even now, much more now, more we're talking particularly now, don't know what sand looks like. I was part of that category, and I'm a grandfather now, right? So I'm going to take you through my first time experience with sand was in a regular natural environment. I think I shared on this program too my first encounter with moths, butterflies, those big ones. It's the same thing. You see, nature has for all of us, surprises, beauties, canvases on which to paint our curiosity. Creatures, shapes, plants, landscapes, environments to oil whet our curiosity as children, and even in most cases as adults. There are places you would have, um, okay, don't worry, I will come to those comments. We're having comments about how people felt the first time they were on sand or their children got to sand. I got those. You know, even as adult, there are places you would have been seeing on, videos, postcards, magazines, newspapers. And like, wow, one day I would like to go to this place. For children, that's eternally or exclusively everywhere, especially if we have children who have grown up within the concrete jungles that are called cities. And then they live in cocooned environments of air conditioned apartments or buildings or houses. And then from there, they get hardened, or well, not hardened, they got at least led into school buses, family cars are driven to school, and then it's in the class. From class, they are managed and then managed back. You come back, you pick them up, get them back into the family car or the school bus. They are managed back home, drop. The synthetic living continues. And you are wondering why your children are behaving funny. And you're wondering why they don't have time for anything else but devices. They don't have alternatives. You've not provided them with any. Nature, that park right in beside your apartment block, right beside your building, right there in your neighborhood, that bush track in the village, that those are all intriguing, interesting, explorative spaces for your children to burn their excess energy on their creative energies around, creative abilities, show you what they can do, get acquainted with nature and natural objects. So let's get to it. Nature and your kids. Okay? So first, I started by asking questions. What was your? I'm coming back to what was mine. Now is the response. So I'm going to. It says my child thought sand was a special kind of play-doh. They tried to mold it into all sorts of things. Oh, your children were very disciplined. Wait, I'm coming. Your children are really very. In short, they had some very disciplined relationship with the sand, and not somebody like me or even my younger cousins, nieces, nephews, or even my grandchildren. So I'm coming to that. Okay. Another community member says warm, squishy, and endless possibilities. Sand felt like magic to me. Wow. Okay. Another person says when my daughter felt sand for the first time, we built a small sand castle. And my little one declared, I made a mountain. So adorable. I'll never forget that day. Yes. All three responses so far haven't even they've not talked about or hit on the magical one. You know what the magical one is? If you're watching, this is the slow parenting program, by the way. My name is Richie Adewusi, and we're talking about children and natural, the outdoors. Okay, the open environment. The first time I had an acquaintance with the sand, the first thing I did was try to eat it. Don't laugh, don't laugh. Anyway, you could go ahead and laugh because I was not the only one. And as time went by, I watched my younger, cousins, nieces, nephews play. Do the same thing. You, they get out, they come to visit in the village then, and their mothers and fathers will be wondering, don't come go on the side. When everybody looks away, the child, they will find their ways to what you call dirt. Sand. They pack the sand before you know what they're think them up. Stop. Yes. Curiosity and getting acquainted with nature in its real form. Okay. Children, out of curiosity, don't know what sand is. They'll scoop it. Some will play, yes. Some. But then if we have an understanding that children, most things children can pick, the next place is going to is where? The mouth. So They saw the comment that it acquaintance with for the first time was scoop and it's going in the mouth. It didn't kill anybody. I didn't know. I don't have any report of any child falling ill because they ate sand. Because again, that's a natural thing. Okay? That's a natural thing that would happen. And then, because it's a natural thing that will happen, it is, not to be seen as something unusual or something that to be prevented or avoided. It's nature. It's nature. The same way I got chased by a moth in my, preteen years, as it were, some other children would follow butterflies and moths to wherever they go. As a matter of fact, I have experiences of nieces and nephews crying when butterfly they are following would have flown out of reach and they can't find or follow them. And but the next day, it's gone. What is gone? I was the butterfly has gone home now. Okay, what to follow butterfly home? Those are natural experiences that you cannot manufacture in your living room, in your cocooned, synthetic, sanitized environment. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that sanitary or clean or uh, debt-free, jam-free environments are not good. But we need to let our children come into acquaintance or get into acquaintance with nature and natural objects. It helps them mentally, helps them physically, it helps them emotionally and relationally. Because on those open ground, they can run, they can compete even without your prompting. They could see who could outrun, you know, each other or themselves. They could go on discoveries. Oh, I found a baby snail. Oh, I found an ant. Look, follow. When my son was much young, he will follow an ant as it comes out of the hole and follow it for the whole day if it's possible. And it was always amazing to watch such. Okay? These days, what are the options our children have? Okay? Why is it necessary for us to make time to have the children get into the open, embrace nature, get on the sand, scoop it? Let's go ahead, put it in there. They might swallow some fuel. Well, what follows would follow. They will be okay. But they are natural, experiences that our children need to have. We have another community member here saying, have you seen any personal example of stories of children who changed positively after spending more time in nature? That's a long, this is an essay for a PhD class. But we don't know that from personal experience. I we always wished to go back, to the villages. After we go back to the city, we would have spent time with our grandmother. Same thing, my younger nieces, nephews, and cousins. Same thing, my grandchildren. Same things now. Now, where I am streaming from, there's a beautiful park just right in front of this building where I am. I've sat in the park there and watched children refuse to leave. And I have seen families return time and again with the same children, just run around. The volleyball court, I think it's called a court, the volleyball court in that park has sand. It's not grass, has sand. Same thing I just described to you earlier. The smaller kids, they'll find their way there. And you see them scooping. I see the same experience that I saw in Africa, here in Canada. And these children, forget what color their skins are, whatever, they behave the same ways. So to be able to maybe give a response that might satisfy this community member, then we need to do a study. We need to follow specific children over a long period of time to find out the effect of course, if you are, I mean, you've asked already, my guess it will be that going by how I felt, that you want to go back means there are some positive things you got from being out there in the open in natural environments. Okay. Um okay. This one says, would you say children should have outdoor time every single day? Too much of everything is not good, whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is. And when you expose individuals, anyone, whatever age, to the same things every time, the things lose their favor. They lose their taste. They lose their pull. Okay, magic. That shouldn't be every time. First, you don't even have time to take your children, except of course if you live in a building, if you live in an environment uh, where you have a ground, children can go out every day. Of course, necessarily whether you like it or not, if you live in such environment, the children will find their way out. Then it becomes a relief for you to even guide them to do that on their own, supervised, of course, time to time. No, but if you live in an environment where you don't have such a luxury, you live in the concrete jungle, as we have alluded to earlier, where you have to make some effort to get to some natural environment, a park, a beach, a trail, you can't do that every day. It's not even conceivable that you first the children have to go to school. There are other routine things. You got to go to work. There are other things. But having planned and structured and sustained exposure with natural environment is good for everyone, including yourself, especially the children. It's not likely that when the children are out there in the park that they'll have time to be playing computer games. There are such children, don't quote me wrongly, there will be such children that will even sneak their gaming console inside their bag or pockets as you are leaving home to go to the park. That becomes another reason why you have to take particular interest in what each person is having on him or her as you plan to go out. Times out in nature are not should not be times for carrying gadgets. Just like dinner, meal times at home should not be times for gadgets. When you have to take your children, uh, either biological or your children by trust, when we take them out to experience natural environments, that's not the time to carry any devices. Maybe including yourself, except while you say, okay, you're having your phone maybe because of GPS and all of that, depending on where you are going to. But then every other person, at least somebody would have a device. Well, yes, that could be an excuse, or you might need to call an emergency or whatever. You have a phone with you. But the children, there's no reason for them to carry uh, devices along with them. Another community member here says, what's your take on outdoor education or forest schools? Forest school, what brought about the forest school, first of all? And there are environments where forest schools will be a whole lot more expensive to run than, well, uh, skyscraper school. Because again, if you have individuals who live in places where they have to travel through different means to be able to get to forest environments. That would be expensive. But if you ask, if you're running a school in the forest with people who are living in villages, did you have a choice for? I didn't. So we need to understand, uh, this issue with the um, forest schools. For instance, I will tell you a story. During the civil war in Nigeria, okay, there were no formal schools because of incessant air raids, air raids, meaning bombings, you know. And every morning, we, the children then, will be, all of us will be gathered, our parents will prepare meals, and we'll be taken to the forest. That's where we'll be for the rest of the day till nightfall before we'll come back home again. So within those environments, of course, there are the elderly ones, the educated ones who worked at, volunteering and started some kind of school within the. So certain things evolve and such things evolve organically. Okay. And then if in rural communities schools are started in the forest, you would also have a reason for which that would happen. People would not go. If it is to study nature and periodically classes are conducted within certain environments, that's a need. That's a need. That's experimentation. That is research. Okay. So I have painted all of those scenarios because I needed to have a better understanding. Is what's your take on outdoor education? Outdoor education happen should field trips. My understanding of outdoor education, field trips should happen, have been happening, should continue. Children should be taken on local field trips and not so local field trips, depending on what the issue areas and interests are by their families, by clubs within the neighborhoods that they belong to, that their parents belong to, church, groupings, neighborhood clubs, and all of that. So outdoor activities um, organized by different troops. It's not just groups, sorry. It's not just families, not just your parents taking you out. Children can go even without the parents, so long as they have they have parental consent to go on such trips, and parents uh, get to endorse and give consent and know what's going to happen, ask questions, get responses about how their children will be taken care of, or uh, safety concerns and all of that. That should go. It's be encouraged, okay? And there's another one here says, are there specific age groups that benefit more from nature exposure, or is it equally important at all? It's important at all stages. Even adults. If you've wished, I think I started on that as we started on the program, but then uh other things took over, as it were. You want to go to a particular place as maybe a young person, time, school. Sometimes resources make it impossible or difficult for you to go to those places we dream at particular times, as you progress in life. But when eventually you're able to be in some of those environments, no matter the age, it will always be like, wow, sometimes it's like a dream, sometimes like it's not real. I remember the first time I, 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 I was on the grounds of the Taj Mahal. I was like, wow, I had read so much, seen so many photographs, I've seen videos, and there I was on the ground of the Taj Mahal. I began to wonder how somebody could have conceived of somebody. Forget whatever other stories that surround the place. The whole idea that somebody actually had this done, you know. Meanwhile, some of us live within environments where we see things on a daily basis and they don't mean nothing. They don't mean anything to us. And they didn't even mean anything to you to start with because you were born in that environment, you see everything. But Imagine people who are born near beaches. The beach don't have any special attraction to them. It's just the environment. Now you that you have to come from somewhere to, it's a big deal. You're going to the beach. Okay, so the question of, are there specific age groups and specific that benefit more from nature? Everybody benefits from, if you, there are people who don't like, as people grow old, people begin to have preferences. But for children, well, not all children will like all environments. You have to find out. Generally, children like water. Okay, so because children like water, and when you take your children to beach environment or live or moving water environment, even swimming pools, you need to supervise them. You need to be sure that they have all the attention that they need, so harm does not come to them, or they don't go to harm, in such environments. Some children don't like crawling things, flying things. Like myself, I was not ashamed the day I told you the story of myself and the moth that I felt was chasing me at age 12, or let's say 11 or 10, 11, 12, 10. Okay. So all of us don't like the same things. You will see children who will see a snake. Oh, wow, looks so nice. But come back here. But the child wants to go, and some people say, oh, snake don't do anything to children. I don't want to find out. And as a parent, I wouldn't encourage you to find out if snakes can do things to children. They say, oh, children have such a spirit that snakes wouldn't strike them. Please don't try it. Okay, just let the snake go its way. Let your children go their way. They are better, even if they like snakes. Let them like them videos and pictures, not real life. Please, okay. And yeah, so it's important that we also know, there's no one size fits all about how our children will react in all natural environments. Some children have fear for water. Okay, as as the sand story that I started with on this episode, some children don't like sand. Okay, some children don't like sand. Some don't like water. Some children don't like the bush trail. They are afraid that something, because there's so much cartoon they watch and some things. So you feel that something is going to come out of the bush track and swallow them. So they are holding on to you as if uh, it's the end of the world. So you have to note such reactions in your children and be able to know what each child would prefer, would like, and what each child would not like. So you are not forcing them to do things that they don't feel comfortable doing. It still all comes down to knowing your children. First times, yes, being around such environment, you take your notes. Don't take anything for granted. Observe and see how each child, if you have more than one, would react. If it's a child, watch to see how that child reacts to that environment. And then it helps you now to know where to go next. Okay? How often, if you can afford it, do you want to go? I remember going on a family holiday to Dubai and going on the bought, we bought tickets to take a ride to go to the top of the Burj Khalifa. And I won't mention which one. And someone said that I'm not going. Are you kidding me? You know how much this ticket is? But you said yes, then I'm gonna go. And suddenly the person didn't want to go and go to the top of what qualify. And so you have to know such, things. And so next time when you're planning, you already know that this person is not going to want to go to this place when we go in there. You look at, well, when we went on the desert safari, everybody was excited to go on the sand thing again. we need to find out what would interest our children, even in the outdoors, even in the open, even in nature. Okay? It's don't take your children to places where they will do this, get frightened for the entire visit period. Okay? If it was the first time, note, apologize. Oh, so, oh, I didn't know you feel like it. Come on, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, we'll soon go. If you can afford to leave, okay? If you can afford to leave. If there's any special reason why you are there, sometimes people go for programs, you know, serious programs, but take their children along. So, oh, the children would like it to come along. But you get there, you find out that your child don't want, it's not comfortable in that environment. You can make an arrangement for, you continue with your program, but if you went with your partner, your spouse, or some of your other, if you went there with more than one child, the other children, you could leave them somewhere else safe and finish your program. But you would have noted that this child does not like. Okay, so we're going to take a break now. We will watch a video. So you don't take my word for it, all of it. You take my words, but no, but confirm to see what are some of those benefits and why should we get the children to embrace the outdoors, nature. Don't go away.
When I get the class outdoors into nature, the troublemaker becomes the leader. Not just well behaved, the leader. I hear that over and over again. It raises a question. What are we doing to these kids by keeping them in the classroom all the time, in that cubicle, at that chair, taking test after test after test, canceling recess, canceling field trips, all with this theory we're going to make a better child if we do that to them. But what proportion of the huge increase in the number of kids that are taking stimulants for their behavior might have something to do with the fact that we took nature away from kids in the first place?
It's not healthy. Okay, this is not a case of if we can afford it. The job we're doing, back to back, back to back, back to back. There are some things we spend money on that are caused by some other things we are not letting happen. Okay, exposing your children to the outdoors have a whole lot of beneficial effects for them all around. All around. While we were watching that video, someone said here, a community member sent in this, said, "How can I overcome my own fears or anxieties about letting my child explore nature? There are so many things that could hurt him." Yes, there are so many things that could also hurt him inside. As a matter of fact, the things that could hurt your child inside are more than the things that could hurt your child outside. But like we've been saying from the top of the program, let your children be supervised. I mean, not the helicopter kind of supervision. Let they are in the field. Be sure that there are, safety. Yes, be cautious. Take precautions about safety issues. The children go. It's a field. It's an environment, open field, and all of that. They run. They will fall. Yeah, sometimes there'll be bruises. And so get ready to have your first aid kits ready to, clean up bruises, covered bruises up. They are all parts of acceptable risk taken in having your children grow up and take responsibility, make mistakes, and learn from that mistake. That fall, that bruise will probably help that child to learn how not to run in a particular way again. But if that child does not take that fall will always happen someday in some other places at some other time. Okay? So, yes, it is true that there are things that could hurt them. But inside your apartment, inside your house and your building, inside your compound, there are myriads of other things that could. Someone shared a very heartrending story with me yesterday, just yesterday. A family went to buy plantain, and this story happened somewhere in Texas, not somewhere in the Congo. I want to buy plantain at the store, an African store. Of course, the plantain wouldn't have grown around that place in Texas, Abi. Yes. Okay. They would have imported them from whichever part of the world. Plantains in this part of the world not necessarily get imported just from Africa. Some of the South American countries grow plantains, grow bananas, and other food crops that get transported. So this is not about where did the plantain come from. That's not what the issue is. But they bought this plantain and they were going home. The children were fooling around with the things that have been bought. Maybe that one might not have seen the plantain before. I was fooling around with the plantain. I'm like, wow, yeah, wow. As if maybe something is, and they didn't know. They didn't take notes. By the time they got home, sorry, the unthinkable had happened to the child. It was only during investigation by 911 who they called 911 that, okay, where did this happen? They went to check where the plantain was, check the plantain, and they found out there was a snake on the plantain. So a snake had bitten that child. Well, it couldn't be said that it was out of the carelessness of the parents. No. You went to a shop, you bought a bunch of plantain, you were taken home. Nobody could have thought that. I just brought that up for you to know that wasn't in the forest. That wasn't in the park. That was you went shopping, you are paid, you put the plantain, bunch of plantain inside the bag, whatever is in your car. And the children, out of curiosity, are just looking, well, what is it touching? And then something happened. So anything could happen anywhere. The watchword is caution. The watchword is care. The watchword is attention. Check to see that where your children are, whether at home or in the open, in nature, that to the best of your ability and knowledge, they are safe. Okay? They are safe. All right. So um there's another contribution from a community member here. It says, what are some ways to make nature experiences accessible and enjoyable for children with special? Same way you make them accessible to children with regular needs. Same environment, but because of depending on the particular needs that that child, special need has, you make that experience, you package that experience, you present that experience in a way that child with a special need would enjoy it. I'll give an example. A child who has physical challenges, that's on a wheelchair, for instance, can be expected to run with the siblings or the friends when they dash off. An adult could play that role, and that child could still enjoy that experience. An adult could become the driver of the wheelchair. The other ones are running. But you are the adult. You just be sure, yes, you can outrun the other ones. Don't outrun them. Push the wheelchair at the pace at which the other ones are running. And you could even have an agreement with the ones who could run to say, look, hey guys, when I get to certain, just slow down so that John wins. And I tell you, yeah, I won. As a wonderful, memorable experience. Okay. If it's a visually challenged child, you describe what is happening. Okay. So it cannot be a one, again, size fits all experience, depending on the kind of special challenge that that child or those children will have. And then, of course, these days you have specialists in different areas of special challenge, who are trained to help. It might not be accessible, such might not be accessible to all family, but within your family environment, you learn how to cope, or how to support, how to help, such children if they are members of the family. Okay, I have seen where families are in the park, this same park here, and the child is physically handicapped, is in a wheelchair, and the other children are running around, and parents just put the child in the wheelchair, and they are grilling one thing or the other. No, I hate to say this here, but on one occasion like that, I took a risk because it was a risk. I took a risk and walked up to the child, held the wheelchair and pushed, and parents were looking at me, what's it do? It was a risk, yes. I joined all the other children, and suddenly the parents were like, oh, wow, so this is, and yeah, and they took over. Okay. So you have, yes, you've taken the child to the park, is there with other children. It's not that child making that it could get out of the wheelchair, run with other children. You create that experience, you create that fulfillment for that child and make it happen for the child. Be happy. That child in the wheelchair, the expression whilst just sitting there in the wheelchair with the parent was different from when, that child was now being wheeled to join uh, the siblings or the other children. I don't know whether they're the same family. There are about 6 other children and that child. And nobody, even those who are gone before now, didn't leave that particular child behind anymore. They took turns down, but somebody needed to, say, hey, let's not leave this person, behind. That's another one. How can I make outdoor activities appealing to my children in the first place when they're already addicted to screens? The first thing is to get them divorced from the screens when you go out. Start. Start. And experience have shown that most of those times, of course, they've gone out, they've been out, they've run, they've burnt a little bit of the excess energies that they have. By the time they get back home, some of them, not all of them, okay, and these things don't happen same way for all everybody, including adults. Okay, some people, no matter where they've been, the first thing that happens when they get home is go to a particular device to check it out and all of that. So probably will be the same thing with the children because that's what they see you do. But then to now say how do you get them off devices, to get them interested in outdoor activities if they're already, not my word, the word of this community member, if they're already addicted to screens. Get them disaddicted to the screens when you are going outdoor and increase, if you can afford it, increase the frequency of the visit to the outdoor place. I said, if you can afford it. And of course, even if it's something you said, I can afford that. Remember, on this program, we've always talked about setting boundaries, agreeing on boundaries, setting them and enforcing them. Devices are not necessarily bad. It's how we use them that are the issue, ourselves and the children. So if you don't have that luxury of time, space, and resource to take your children regularly out, if you live in a house where you have the large fence compound, it's easy. Let them go and burn their energies on the grass, playing rugby, playing soccer, volleyball, and all other things outside. You increase their outdoor times if you have such environment. If you live within an environment where there are community parks and things like that, create more time for them to agree on more time for them to go to such places supervised, and then of course when they go to such, you don't carry a telephone and you're playing a computer game while you're playing basketball. It's not possible. Well, it is possible, but then something terrible is most likely going to happen. That phone might not come back the same because it probably got broken. And of course, when it gets broken, oh, thank God, no replacement. So the child will leave it the next time and increase those. The important thing is to agree on routines. We go back to setting boundaries, agreeing on boundaries, setting them and agreeing on consequences and rewards. And we'll keep saying enforce consequences and rewards. Enforce the boundaries. No telephones, no devices during this time, during that time. Everybody, what do we say? Mom, what if well, when those if you I happen, we'll think about it that happen. Generally, this is where everybody will agree. Oh, yes, you agree. Listen, write them down. Don't make them, don't, don't make them verbal. Okay. Don't make them informal. Formalize them. Write them down. Possibly print copies and give each member of the family. Put one somewhere where everybody has access to go to read. If you say, I don't have my copy anymore, you'd never know the kind of stories you hear when people come to defend themselves about some misconduct. They are very funny defense. You wouldn't even know the kind of lawyers you have at home when certain things happen. Okay? But let's not forget what we're discussing here today. We're not discussing boundaries. We're discussing the outdoor and our children. Okay? How do I handle outdoor meltdowns or tantrums? I get them a lot from my daughters. They want to stay more or they want to get back. So we need to understand what these tantrums are. They want to stay more, negotiate. They don't want to stay, negotiate. No matter their ages. Don't say, well, we're here, whether you like it or not, you're going to be here till ready to go. Oh, you could say that, fine. It will work for a while. After a while, it will not work. After all, I'm 18 now, I'm no longer a child, so I don't have to be here with you. You can get angry depending on what part of the world you live in and where that grammar is happening at. You might have nothing, might not be able to do anything about it. So get used to, having two-way negotiations, conversations, agreements with your children. It doesn't diminish you in any way. It empowers them. Okay? It makes them much more assertive, able to take decisions, able to negotiate issues when you are not there with their peers, with their colleagues, with their partners, eventually. Okay? Don't say, why would I come and be discussing with the child? Has to go and do what he has to do. You could do that, but you're not helping the child. That you're negotiating, you're also teaching that child some skills. Negotiation skills, communication skills, skills that get them ready to share, to accommodate, to tolerate, to lead or follow, as the case might be. Okay? If it's your way or the highway all the time, one of them will become you, and one of them become the other one that must follow. And wouldn't know what to say. This doesn't make sense for me to follow because it's been conditioned to follow. Whatever it gets to, is follow. Okay? So we have to know what those meltdowns are. Like I've said, if it's about, oh, mom, can't we stay more? I have seen that a lot of times at beaches, at outdoor environments, at recreational centers. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Negotiate. We'll come back another time. But right now, we have to go. Remember, we agreed. Agree before you leave home how long you're going to next time. Maybe that's the first time that's happening. You didn't know that would happen. So when you go into any place, agree on when you are going to leave and let everybody remember when you arrive at the place, this is when we have agreed we will leave. Everybody, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Why? Because I have a meeting that we have to go to and I can't leave you here. Agree on have those discussions first. It does not diminish you. It lets your children understand that it makes sense to have plans and follow the plans. Okay? Don't get to take abrupt decisions. Now, okay, now we're going now. Why are we going that? You said we're going to be here till 4. It's only 2:30. Oh, well, something came up. I have to leave here. Well, some things can actually come up. We'll have to leave now is not the answer. You negotiate again. Guys, I remember we said we're going to leave at Istanbul. However, something's come up that has to go. If it's something that if you are there as a family, if it's you, the dad that has to leave, negotiate. Their mother is there. They agree. Let it be an agreement, and you can apologize and go and leave that. If it's the mother too that has to go, it understood. That's also the routine. But if it's something now that look, maybe you are the only one who could drive, you drove them there. Well, that means that everyone has to leave. You also have to be nice to say, okay, guys, yes, this is not the plan, but I'll make it up to you. Okay? That's tantrum number one from my own reading about I don't want to leave. We don't want to leave. Why should we leave now? This is not what we agreed. Fine. Okay. The child is quoting your own law. You agreed laws to you. Your boundary you've agreed. 2 hours will go, but you want to leave after 30 minutes. The child is pushing back. That's tantrum. The other one is I don't want to be in this place. I don't even know why we came to this place in the first place. Well, did you discuss where you are going? Did you get the children to pick where they want to go? Do that. Engage the children about where they would like to go to. And take lots if you like. That could be different if you have more than one child. Different children might want to go to different places. But it's okay. Today, this time, we'll go here. Let's vote. Those who want to go here, we did that. I used to do that with our own family. But, okay, why do we go? Why are we going on holidays this year? Somebody will say that. Somebody will say that's okay. Well, we're going to vote. Not me. I'm not voting, but you guys can, of course, you know what they say, majority, right? They'll vote and we agree and then begin to make the holiday plans. Okay? So the boundary setting, the agreement thing, you're not just doing it to get things done now. You're also doing those to help them learn that planning makes sense, agreements make sense. Communication is key to building any type of relationship. Okay? I think we have one more here, and this is probably going to be the last one we'll take for today. Can nature help strengthen sibling or pair relationship too, or is the benefit mostly individual? It's not mostly individual. When you have your children who sit in their different corners of your apartment block or your home on their different devices indoors, and you now have to take them outdoors where there's an open field, they would have to relate with themselves, run races, play a ball game of one type or the other. There are different gadgets that you could get to who could skip more counts on the skipping rope. There are so many things that could happen, and they would necessarily not have much of a choice but to relate with themselves because the devices are back home. Okay, so yes, having your children outdoors will build relationships, sibling and otherwise, even yours and theirs. Okay, even yours and theirs. It's not just the individual. As a matter of fact, it's not very easy to remain individualistic in the open. You want to share what you have found with other people. That's a relationship thing. You want to show somebody you can outrun him or her. That's a relationship thing. You know, you want to show somebody that you can throw a certain object, that you can skip more, that you can do press up more. It becomes many competitions that keep relationships going. Oh, the outing we went today, this was a champion for uh, skipping. Oh, this person shot the most baskets the last time we went. I'm going to, I'll shoot you the next time. Well, that paves the way for another time of getting out there. Okay? So if this has been interesting to you, please, if you have not subscribed so far, please subscribe to support the slow parenting program. And then do share, you know, go on, click on the share button, share this program, invite your friends over. And thank you, all of us, all of those community members who have sent in questions or comments. We appreciate you. We thank you for your engaging, your participation. Support us, subscribe, share this live stream, go to our website, or sorry, our YouTube channel. You have, videos from previous editions. Share them. Invite your friends to also share. We would appreciate you. Okay. Thank you so much. Stay well. Embrace the outdoors. Keep talking. This is still the Slow Parenting program. We come to you every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, and 7 p.m. West African Time, including Nigeria. My name is Richie Adewusi. Till we meet again next episode. Bye bye.